Apple's announcement of the Vision Pro last month set the tech industry on fire. A lot of people were really quick to start pointing out quirks like the display on the front of the headset that shows off the user's eyes to the battery pack that goes in your pocket. But there's something that not really anybody's talking about, and it's blowing my mind because it could have a really big impact on my line of work. Hi, I'm Devin. I make games. Let's talk about how the Vision Pro is going to impact the VR games industry. During the announcement of the Vision Pro, Apple revealed some details about the headset. The resolution will be 8K, which will be split to 4K per eye. It's going to have a battery pack that goes in your pocket. They even showed off that it's got two processors. One's going to primarily handle the VR spatial calculations, and everything else will be handled by Apple's flagship M2. What does this all add up to for a gaming device? Before we can go into that, we've got to address the elephant in the room. Apple didn't show any controllers. This has a lot of people confused, but I honestly think it's because they're not finished yet. Folks are assuming that Apple left out the controllers because they're ignoring gaming altogether, but I think after we go over everything else, you'll agree that gaming is going to be a primary use case for this headset. Even if Apple intends for the headset to be usable without controllers, there's way too much potential for them to leave controllers out altogether. It's much more likely that they're going to be sold separately. With the recent release of the game porting toolkit, people are starting to see how much muscle Apple Silicon has. For example, user Layer Key on Reddit recently shared a screen recording of Diablo 4 running at 60 FPS on an M1 Max. By now, you're probably starting to wonder how this compares to Meta's headsets. Well, to put it simply, it's apples and oranges. Meta's vision for VR has always been to make things as widely accessible as possible. They spent all of their energy focusing on making affordable headsets, so that VR could have a much wider appeal than PC VR could on its own. This means that parents are now buying their kids Quests for Christmas instead of a PlayStation. But Apple just stepped in and countered. Their goal has always been to make devices that revolutionize the industry. It's not even just the devices that do it. iPods wouldn't have been as wildly successful if all the songs on iTunes didn't cost $1. So yes, obviously this is way more powerful than anything that Meta has put out, and it's definitely going to be more powerful than the Quest 3. It better be. This thing costs $3,500. Now, that said, I don't think it's going to be on par with the graphics fidelity of maxed out PC titles, but I do think we'll probably see experiences comparable to Half-Life Alyx. A lot of people gloss over it, but during this announcement, Apple said that they're partnering with Unity.
We know there is a community of developers who have been building incredible 3D apps for years. And today, we are excited to share that we've been working with Unity to bring those apps to Vision Pro.
This is what pushed me over the edge. Partnering with Unity is a very smart move, as it's the only way that I'd recommend anybody attempt making a game for the device. Unity puts a lot of time and effort in making sure that their VR frameworks are up to modern standards. If Apple respects the OpenXR standard, porting games to the Vision Pro is going to be a breeze. If you're a VR developer making games in Unity, this is the part of the announcement where we all started to complain. We all remember making games for the Quest, when in the early days, if you wanted to test a change, you had to spend 30 minutes to an hour building out to the device before you could see how it works. Meta has spent a lot of time streamlining this process to make it a lot easier on us. But plain and simple, developing games for Apple devices kind of sucks. Most game developers like to work on a Windows machine, but you can't build to an Apple device from a Windows computer. Instead, you have to build out the Xcode project, put it on a Mac to compile, and then put it on the device. This means that if you want to make a game for the Vision Pro, you have to have the $3,500 headset, and then you've got to make the game on a $2,000 Mac computer. This is a major pain point for developers that just want to port their game. I can keep crying about this, but at the end of the day, Apple's made a very powerful device that's going to change how the world sees VR. And if companies want to compete, they have to start caring about VR too. And I'm excited because that means that my experience as a VR game developer can still be applied in the future. What are you looking forward to with this new direction for VR? Let's talk about it in the comments below. If you like this video, you might like some of my other videos where I bring a game developer's perspective to the state of the industry. Also, I make games, so you might like some of my other videos showing off my game dev journey. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.